So for the online farmers market business package, this one is really, really interesting. It's a new twist on an old idea. Being a farmer, being somebody that makes artisan products, or think about all the booths down at the farmers market. What if those entrepreneurs didn't have to pack up their stuff every Saturday and haul a whole display down to the farmers market? I know part of it's fun, but it's seasonal too. There's certain times of the year where there is no farmers market in a lot of areas, and you could make it online, or so you could go down there, advertise your online store, and then the customers aren't just only hitting you up when on the day that you're there, that they're also there at the farmers market. They can reach online anytime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's actually really what consumers want from farmers markets at this point. I think the major limitation on how far they can go is the time constraints that they operate within. And I think being able to shop at your convenience, be able to select products at any time that you want them, I think that's really what will take farmers markets to that next stage. And like it says here, it's an untapped market. This is something that everybody's going to want a piece of.
Yeah, and nobody's doing. Even under this business model, you could create your own online store, and we'll create it for you here at Ready to Launch course. We could subscriptionize some of the products if you want to, some of the things that make sense to do that. Using the Ready to Launch startup guide, you can get your whole business going. But you don't even have to be a vendor at the farmers market to be able to do this, because you could go down there and say, hey, my name is Abe Bowling or Justin Buck, and I'm with onlinefarmersmarket.com or whatever you decide to name your business. I was wondering if I could carry your products in my store. Who's going to say no to that down there at that farmer's market?
Oh, yeah. It gives them the exposure that they want. It gives them the opportunity to reach customers that they would have, never been able to reach before. And I think this is a type of model that could really be scaled across regions. You have a lot of small communities that they currently don't maybe have a venue for a farmer's market, or maybe they're working on one, but it's pretty limited in terms of its scope. I know a lot of small towns near me have a farmer's market monthly. This would be able to drive customer traffic for those vendors at a level that they've never seen before. They'll scale up their businesses, and in turn, you'll scale up yours. And before you know it, I think you could sit back and have a pretty much autopilot business that's driving very high profits.
Yeah, well, and I know a lot of the individual farmers market vendors kind of stepping off that idea there and continuing down the path of basically being a coordinator of all these farmers markets. A lot of the people that are doing this are doing it as a second job or as a passion, and they have a full-time job that pays all their bills. Of course, I'm sure they would want this to turn into a full-time job, which with the featuring your products online and scaling up, you could definitely do that. But the fact is that most of these vendors do not have the time or the energy to create the websites, to coordinate the sale of their product and keeping it updated and creating the subscription package to be able to offer these products on an ongoing basis. And not only will we set you up with all that stuff at the very beginning, but we'll show you how to do it. That way you can go on, you get somebody that has, a new line of honey, and maybe somebody wants to subscribe to get a bottle of this honey once a month. We'll show you how to go on there and do that. So that way you can add that, or you can call us first year you've got this. We can get that coordinated with you. But you'll know how to do that on an ongoing basis. So that way, you can coordinate these things that your customers, your vendors aren't going to have time to do.
Oh, definitely. And I think with the subscription model for the products that fit the bill for that, I think that there's an opportunity for supply chain efficiency. It's expensive to make one or two products here or there, hoping that they sell. But if you have people subscribing and the manufacturer of the product, the vendor, can forecast what the demand is going to be, they're going to be able to make
price
more.
Goes down.
And exactly, your buying power increases, the cost of the product goes down, but the consumer expectation of cost remains roughly the same.
Yeah.
So the opportunity for increasing margins as this does grow is huge.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And the nice thing is too, is this, we talk a lot about wins for everybody. This is not only a win for the business owner who's looking to coordinate a service that a lot of these folks just cannot individually do, but it's a win for the consumer that there's product unavailability just because of the nature of the business. And it's a win for these farmers market vendors that otherwise wouldn't be selling as many products. So it just wins across the board.
Definitely. And it occurs to me that a lot of farmers market vendors aren't able to showcase all of their products. There's logistical challenges that come into play. They can only bring so much out, they can only pack so much back. There's spatial limitations. So those maybe more obscure products that are harder to showcase but possibly have the highest margin are something that would be very well represented in this program.
Now, you've worked under our business methodology. Tell me how our way of doing things has impacted your life.
Well, it's improved my life in many different ways. I've learned to, operate in business more efficiently, more strategically, with a greater focus on win-win outcomes, where the business is profiting, but the, clients and customers are happy. So it's been a very enriching process, and I've learned a lot from you guys. You guys have that entrepreneurial spirit that just makes for good business, and so it's been just an absolute pleasure working with you guys.
And now, what about financially? How would you say your situation is different?
Well, it's been enormously personally rewarding, financially rewarding. We've been able to do things we never imagined being able to do just a few years before. Your unique approach to business has enabled us to, be more profitable than our competitors. We've had a better work-life balance, I think, than most people who, even get close to approaching our income threshold. So I think really, as rewarding as something could be, it has been for us.
Now, do you feel like our way of doing things has profitability advantages over traditional ways of doing business?
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. I think you can, tell just by our history of growth. I think are willing to adapt our business strategies, fill any niche role that's out there, and just, capitalize on things that other businesses aren't even aware of. So, yeah, I think we, have had a much greater level of success than our competitors with more profitability and oftentimes less busy work.
Yeah, certainly. And I think too, with the startup series goes over all sorts of that kind of stuff. And just the ways that we've been luckily forced to adapt and learn how to do things with less staff and, more technology based or more efficiency based, just really picking things apart down to the typing of emails or not. Stuff like that makes a huge difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Breaking things down to their kind of constituent components, seeing what you absolutely have to have, what's not necessary, and then putting your energy behind what drives, maximum productivity and profitability. And I think that's where we've had a lot of our success.
Now, Justin, what would you say to someone who is thinking about buying one of these business packages, but is maybe nervous about starting a business from scratch instead of going with a more expensive traditional franchise, or maybe nervous about something else with starting a business?
Well, I would say that, now is a very good time, I think, for someone to look at starting their own business. And I think, when you're weighing these options, say in comparison to a more expensive franchise, I think the flexibility that's afforded because you still own and have control of your own business, I think
Absolutely.
that's huge. I think that's why a lot of people start a business. They don't want to have to report to someone and curtail their goal and operations based on the direction of somebody else. So I think you get all of those benefits. But I think the other thing that's, a major advantage is that it is lower cost. You're not paying a percentage of your income for an indefinite period. You just have the ability to take a proven model, to adapt it to your specific situation, to be given all the tools to implement your strategy and your goals and to achieve it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. As an entrepreneur myself, obviously, that started several businesses, when I look back over what worked really well and what did not work really well, it's the unknowns that are waiting out there to just, grab you by the foot and trip you up. And that's really what I think makes businesses fail. I think there's probably two major things that make businesses fail. Number one is not knowing a system and process that's proven for success, which it takes a while to get there. And then number two is just these pitfalls that every single entrepreneur will face at some point in time or another. And having the startup series as a guide to continually reference back to me, makes all the difference in the world compared to somebody that does not have that resource. And business consultants are really, really, really expensive. It's a good way to, especially when you're in the startup phases, That's a good way to really drain profitability, is having to call somebody and pay them by the hour every time you have a question, rather than just referencing a resource that you've got on your computer.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're getting basically a veteran business model that works,
Yeah.
and you're able to use that from the get-go. So, I mean, it's like, taking the Microsoft model when you're starting a software company. It's as good a start as you could have.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining me here and going over these business packages. And, for you guys there thinking about this, you can submit on our website or you can give us a call at 844-500-6620 and speak with a business launching consultant. Again, that's 844-500-6620. Thanks so much.